Hello, my name is Ike. Currently, I'm in northwest of England, currently undertaking a training post in the health education in England. I'm an F2 doctor in a training position. So what this video is supposed to do is to describe the process of my application to this particular post and how I got there. So before I go into the video itself, it's essentially me sharing my screen and showing you the UKFPO page where the directive for the application of the program is. So first of all, I just want to give an orientation to where I am. So today, it's currently August 2021. This is in case someone stumbles upon this video in the nearest future and wants to make head and tail of what is happening around the time the video was done. So I put some tips on things I wanted to use to specify what time period we are in the spectrum of our lives. So currently I'm in Northwest England. It's currently August 2021. I'm in my hospital accommodation, which is just functional. It's nothing fancy. Currently, the US and Western forces have pulled out from Afghanistan. The pulling out was completed yesterday, and I think a bomb went off in Kabul airport, and the ISIS have claimed responsibility for it. So Kanye West released Thunder yesterday, and I think that's important to note, and because a lot of people who follow entertainment would make reference to that. Cristiano Ronaldo came back to Man U last week. Messi joined PSG 2 weeks ago, and currently there's a hurricane in the US, Hurricane Ida, and that's Louisiana, US, and people are making efforts to move out and protect themselves. So these are the current headlines at the moment. Also, Arsenal is still doing terribly in the English Premier League. So that's that for now. I will go in. All right. So this is the website of the UK Foundation Program Office, UKFPO. And this is the page describing the F2 Standalone program, the current training program I am in. So the F2 Standalone, simply put, is as described. See, the training program as part of the UK Foundation program where applicants are invited to apply for F2 level posts across the 4 nations of the UK. So during this program, you have opportunity to gain experience in a series of placements in a variety of specialties, and will be offered the same educational resources as F2 trainees in the 2-year program. And this indeed is what's happening, because I'm in the program, and this is what is happening to us. So in common speak, for people who will be, for example, watching this from Nigeria and have not completed their medical school and just want to have an idea of what this means, I'll explain. So after medical school in the UK, they go into the house job or medical internship. They call it foundation program here, and it is for 2 years, foundation year 1 and foundation year 2. So after the foundation year 1, the UK medical graduates get full registration to be full doctors before they then progress into foundation year 2. While in foundation year 1, they are practicing with provisional registration from the GMC, just the way we practice with a provisional registration from MDCN in Nigeria when we're in house job. After the foundation year 1, they must complete the foundation year 2, where they are still under training, but they get to take on more responsibilities and make decisions on patient management. So that's what FY2 year is. Before, I don't know when, but a while back, you could only do the foundation year program from the year 1 and enter the year 2. But recently, they opened this foundation year 2 program for people who completed their medical school and have full registration from outside of the UK. I want to get a glimpse of the training that their UK medical graduates undergo and have access to the resources they also have. So that is what this F2 Standalone essentially is. So you get in and join the people who were in F1 and not in F2, you train with them, get access to a supervisor who will supervise you and ensure your progress in the program. It's a 1-year fixed term training position. So yeah, this is all I've been saying. Remain under clinical supervision, but take on more responsibilities. At the end of you completing this F2 standalone program, you get the same certificate those who did F1 and F2 get if you meet the there are some things you must sign off which do not seem so difficult to sign off. And when you get this document signed off, you are awarded an FPCC, which is a Foundation Program Certificate of Completion, that indicates that you're ready to enter a core, specialty, or general practice training program. So the difference between this and other regular jobs you get in if you just complete your lab and you apply for an NHS job directly is that when you get this certificate, it's valid for 3 years. Yeah, 3 years. So after completing your F2 program and getting the FPCC, you can go and do some other program, go outside of medicine, do an F3 year, do some medical non-training job. Then the following year, your certificate will still be eligible because the FPCC is valid for about 3 years, I think. So, if you do not go through this F2 standalone, you have to enter a job, work for a period of time, then get a certificate signed, which is certificate of readiness to enter specialty training. Yeah, so if you sign this particular certificate, you do not need an FPCC, but this certificate is only valid for the year you want to enter training. So yeah, so that's the simple advantage. But then the second advantage, of course, is during the F2 training program, you rotate through different specialties. For me, I'm rotating through internal medicine, general surgery, and emergency department, each for 4 months. So this is something I was really looking forward to, and I wanted to have a taste of the different departments before I decided. Because at the moment, although I'm drawn towards doing internal medicine, I'm not exactly sure. So I'm still trying to decide. So I need the exposure to have a better understanding of the UK system and how these different specialties work in the UK, and going ahead to decide which one I want. So yeah, that was an advantage. The disadvantage, which is a serious advantage for most people coming from Nigeria, and is the pay. Pay is not so good. It's the gross annual pay for an F2 program is £33,000 ish. Whereas your mates who have their full registration and just apply into an NHS non-training job, regular jobs at higher levels, will be earning about some 38,000 to 43,000 annual pay, depending on their experience. Yeah. So yeah, that's a serious setback to it. Your pay takes a serious hit if you decide to get into the F2 training program. So that's that. Then yeah, I'm supposed to share my process of application, and I'll do that shortly. So this is the process essentially, from application to long listing to SGT to interview, preferencing, then to offers. So I'm going to use this to describe my own process of application. It says view a larger version of the process. So let's check that out. It goes to SharePoint. How is this larger? Okay, we'll manage it. So now, the application is made on Oriel. So I'll show you how Oriel looks like. So Oriel, yeah. So this is where the application is made. It's on this website, and this is the same website where you make the. So this is how the Oriel application looks like. And this is the platform where you would make the application for the program. So I'm not going to go into my application process now. What I'll just do is let's see. Let's go back. So yeah, this is how the Oriel application looks like, where you apply for F2 Standalone, essentially any training position you're applying for in the UK, which is under the Health Education England, you make them from Oriel. Yeah. So first thing you do is to apply for the standalone program on Oriel. The applications usually open in January, from say January 1st to January 14th or 20th. Opens for like 2 to 3 weeks. And in these 2 to 3 weeks, you should go to Oriel, fill in the application form and complete the application before the deadline. Then you have to list some referees who you anticipate to reference when you need it. But the referees will not submit a reference until you actually get an offer. Yeah, that's when the referees will need to submit a reference. So do not worry about it. Just put some people's emails there, some of your teachers from medical school or someone you worked with after medical school. Just put their name and emails. You can always change it if you want. At least during my time, I could change it. I don't know if you change it. So there's always an application guide on the UKFPO website for that particular year. So what I did was to read through the application guide and make sure I understood whatever it was saying so that I did not make any mistake. So you need to make sure you read the application guide for the year you're applying for so that all the information and knowledge you have will be up to date concerning the application. So after you apply, in the application guide, there will be something known as person specification, which is who they are looking for this position. So the important things I noted and I had to prove was that I had an Ielts of 7.5 and above in all the categories. 7.5 in listening, reading, speaking, and writing. Each of them have to have above 7.5 as at the time I was applying. Next, you have to have at least, I think, passed PLAB 1. You do not have to have passed PLAB 2, but you need to have passed your PLAB 2 by the time you get in the program, which starts in August, but application starts in January. So you have about 7 months to apply and pass your PLAB 2 and get your full GMC registration as well, because you need the GMC registration to take up the job. Then the next thing is to, what's the next thing? Then have an MBA certificate. They ask for acute life support and in-date life support, advanced life support and in-date life support training. If you have them, they are desirable. I do not have them and I still do not have them yet, but you can get that after you get into the job. Then, yeah, so if you meet these requirements, as stated below, you will be longlisted automatically. Then also you have to have completed internship, like actually completed like 1 year experience to show that, not necessarily show that you have completed internship, because I know some people who do not complete their internship and got into F2 Standalone. So you just need to show that you have registration with your country's medical licensing body. That's full registration to medical licensing body from your country. Yeah. So that's that. I'm not sure if that is in the person specification now, but it's just so rough in my head. So just go check it out when it's your time to apply. Yeah. So if you meet this criteria, you will be longlisted. Longlisting will just mean that you'll be shortlisted, not shortlisted, so all of you will be listed out so that you're eligible, you meet the eligibility criteria. And then you'll be invited to book a situational judgment test. So I think my institutional judgment test was sometime in March, I think so, I'm not very sure now, yeah, sometime in March. And because I was in Nigeria, I could not go to a person view center, which is the software and hardware company that organizes this SJT. It is usually a computer-based test. You go to the center and you are invigilated and you take the exam under invigilation, but on the computer. However, because of COVID and because I was in Nigeria, I'm not sure there are any centers. I did not see any centers there. I opted for the remote proctoring. So I downloaded the application on my laptop and did the exam on my laptop. But during the exam, I had to turn on my webcam so that a remote invigilator could see that I was abiding by the rules set out for the exam. I was not looking down, I was not looking sideways, so there was no one in the room. And also had to show them my identification even before starting. Yeah, so that was that. So it is really the secure test actually, even though it was remotely taken, it was really secure and they made sure that they invigilated the exam well and make sure that I was the one and I alone was taking the exam. So after that, you're in like 2 to 3 weeks, your results for this test will come out. The test is essentially checking. There's really no there are practice questions that tells you the pattern of questions that come out. So you just practice them and have an idea of how the questions, and they are ethical questions essentially. Question something like you see a colleague of yours who repeatedly comes late, what will you do? So to ask you what's the first thing you'll do, and give you options. So you choose the first, second, third, fourth, and the least appropriate thing to do. So that's essentially that's the idea behind most of the questions that come out for the SGT. It's just testing your judgment, essentially, not really your clinical skill. Yeah. Then the next is if you do well in the SGT, there'll be a cut-off mark. And people who do extremely well, I think in the top 10%, will scale through the interview. They won't have an interview, and they'll just go to choose which hospitals they want to work in. They'll preference their hospitals. By preference, I mean they rank the hospitals they want to get into. And when they rank these hospitals, they are almost likely to get them because they have ranked highly in the SGT and do not even have to go through an interview. But the rest of us who do not rank so highly in the SGT will take an interview. Those who do not pass the SGT will be dropped out at this level. So for the interview to be like a 3-man panel or 2 people panel, 2 men, two men. I think it's 2 man. Yeah. Panel will interview you, talk to you through your CV, ask you to answer some clinical scenarios. Then after that, you go into after answering the clinical scenarios, they then tell you goodbye about 3 or 4 clinical scenarios. They bid you farewell, and in the next 1 to 2 weeks, you get the results for the interview. So normally, according to our guide, it told us that the interview and the SGT will be, the scores will be put together, then that will determine how highly you rank. Because at the end of this SGT and interview, ideally they should get your scores and rank you from number 1 to number 400, depending on your scores. So, but they shifted the goalpost essentially during our time by saying that only the SGT will be taken into recognition for ranking us. So now, I've been taken into consideration for ranking us, not recognition. So what they did was your SGT score just determined how highly you rank. So from the person that scored the highest down to the number 300 or something, we're all ranked like that. And as we are ranked like that, then we're told to go to the ORIA website and rank all the hospitals on rotations we'd like to go through. So I also ranked from number 1 to at least my ranking, which was very low, by the way. So I ranked down. So there's a lot of ranking, a lot of hospitals to rank. So I went through each of them, looked at the rotations that were available in different hospitals and ranked them according to rotation and location, how far away they were from London. But interestingly, I was able to get one that the rotation I really wanted, but it was a bit far away from London, which is where my aunt lived. So I had to move down to northwest of England. So yeah, after ranking these hospitals, after a while, maybe after 3 days actually, then you will get your offers. So depending on how highly you rank, if someone ranks above you and chooses a hospital, of course they will get it before you. Then every other person who has ranked hospitals that you ranked will get them before you, they are above you. But when it gets to your turn, if people who rank above you have not ranked any of the hospitals you ranked up in your preferencing, then you get it. I will send a link to describe how the ranking works. It might sound confusing at the moment, but yeah, that's how it works. Then you get your offers and you accept the offer if you want. If you want to upgrade the offer, that is, you feel that another offer above you might become available, and which they usually do become available, you accept the offer and opt in for upgrades in case there are upgrades available. Then after that, your hospital contacts you and the employer and go through the necessary employment process, and you start working. Yeah. So that's essentially the process of the F2 Standalone. I hope this was useful to you. Yeah. So I hope I've been helpful with describing how to apply for this particular F2 Standalone program, and I've given you some insight as to help you decide if you'll be going with the F2 Standalone or the non-training position. And if you're interested in that, you have adequate information to go ahead with it. So the next thing it's important that I point out here that during my application, I didn't have a PLAB 2 date, and I was able to write to GMC and told them that I had been longlisted. I was in longlisting phase for the FY2 Standalone program, and I'm hoping to pass the PLAB 2 before the job starts in August. And that they should give me a date. And interestingly, they actually replied and gave all of us who were in the standalone program a date for the PLAB 2 exam, despite it being very limited. Yeah, so thankfully, I passed the exam in one sitting and was able to get my GM's registration immediately after. Then, what's the next thing I want to say? Yeah, so the next thing I will just describe is in my next video, if there will be one, I'm not sure if there will be one at this moment, but if there will be one, I would want to go through my onboarding process and how I was onboarded into the role and how it has been so far, how the job has been so far, how difficult or how easy it's been for me to adapt into the role in the United Kingdom. Yeah, it's really, the cultural difference is actually really stark. It's really different, and it's taking some time to adjust, and I'll go into detail in my next video. Yeah, thank you for watching. Bye.